Hello and welcome to our podcast. I'm Emma, and I'm here with Max. Today, we're talking about one of my favorite topics, learning English with apps you can use anywhere, anytime. So, Max, do you use apps to learn new things on the go?
Absolutely. Emma, I love that apps make it so easy to learn anywhere, whether I'm on a bus, taking a break, or even waiting in line. Learning English this way can fit into any schedule, which is amazing. But, there are so many apps out there, it can be hard to know which ones are really worth it.
That's so true. And for English learners, it's even more important to find apps that are both fun and helpful. Today, we're going to explore some of the best ones that work well for both elementary and intermediate levels. We'll talk about how each app works, why it's useful, and how it can help you improve your English, all while keeping things simple and easy to understand.
Sounds perfect. Emma, let's jump in. One of the top apps for learning English on the go is Duolingo. Now, I'm sure a lot of people have heard about Duolingo because it's super popular. It's got a cute little green owl as its mascot, and it's designed to make language learning feel like a game.
Exactly. With Duolingo, you can learn English in bite-sized lessons, so it's great if you only have a few minutes. You go through different levels, and each level has exercises that teach you vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation. I think what makes it so helpful is that it's like playing a game. You earn points, get rewards, and see your progress. And it's a fun way to learn new words and phrases every day.
Yes, and it's really great for elementary learners because it starts with the basics. For example, you might learn simple sentences like, I am a student or this is a book. It gradually gets harder, so as you get better, you learn more complex sentences and phrases. Plus, Duolingo helps with both speaking and listening skills, which is really important.
Another great thing about Duolingo is the speaking exercises. You get to say words and sentences out loud, and it checks your pronunciation. For beginners, this can be really useful to get comfortable speaking English out loud. And for intermediate learners, you can go deeper by choosing harder lessons or practicing more specific skills.
Yes, and it's free, which is awesome. You can pay for an upgraded version if you don't want ads, but the free version is pretty amazing on its own. Another app that's really effective, especially for learning vocabulary, is Memrise.
Memrise is fantastic. I love that it focuses on vocabulary. In Memrise, you can choose specific English courses, like English for travel or basic English phrases. This makes it very easy to learn words that are useful for your personal goals, and the app uses short videos and images to help you remember the words.
Yes, the videos are really fun. You get to see real people saying the words in their native accents. This is super helpful for pronunciation because you can see and hear how native speakers say the words. Plus, Memrise has quizzes that help you test your memory so you don't forget what you learn.
And it's also great for learning phrases that people use in real life. So if you're traveling, you can learn useful things like where is the nearest train station? Or can I have the menu? Please, Memrise makes it easy to repeat words and phrases so you remember them. And it works offline too, which is a big plus if you don't always have Wi-Fi.
I love that feature. Being able to use it offline is so helpful. And for intermediate learners, Memrise has options for more complex sentences and phrases, which is really useful for building your vocabulary step by step. Another app that's quite popular and a bit different from these is HelloTalk.
Yes, HelloTalk. This app is amazing because it connects you with real people. You can chat with native English speakers who want to learn your language, and you help each other. So if you're a native Spanish speaker, for example, you can chat with an English speaker who's learning Spanish. It's like a language exchange.
That's what makes it so unique. You can practice real conversations, ask questions, and even correct each other's messages. HelloTalk is more focused on real conversations than on exercises or quizzes, so it feels very natural. It's like chatting with a friend, and you learn how people actually speak.
And what's nice is that you can send voice messages too, so you can practice speaking. Plus, the app has a correction tool that lets your language partner correct your sentences, which is really helpful. It's a friendly way to improve your English with someone who understands what it's like to learn a new language.
Exactly, Emma, and if you're a little shy or not ready for voice messages, you can always just text. Many people feel more comfortable typing first before trying to speak.
So, we've talked about some fantastic apps already, but there are even more amazing tools out there. Let's dive into a few more apps that make learning English on the go easy and fun. One app that I think is really interesting is Bisu. Max, have you tried Bisu?
Yes, I have, and I think it's a really solid choice for anyone serious about learning English. Bisu is a bit different because it combines learning exercises with a social aspect. It has structured lessons, almost like a mini language school in your pocket, but you also get to practice with real people, which makes it unique.
Exactly, Bisu has lessons that cover all the basics of English, like grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. It also has something called conversation practice, which I think is fantastic. So after you complete a lesson, you can actually practice with native English speakers, and they can give you feedback. For elementary and intermediate learners, this can make a big difference.
Yes, getting feedback from native speakers is so helpful because you get a better idea of what you're doing well and what you can improve. And Bisu lets you choose specific lessons based on your level, so you don't feel lost if you're just starting out. They have beginner courses, intermediate courses, and even some advanced lessons if you feel ready for them.
And you know what else is great? Bisu gives you personalized feedback. So if you're struggling with a certain word or phrase, you can get advice on how to say it more naturally. It's almost like having a personal tutor in your phone. Plus, it works offline, too, which means you can download lessons and study even without an internet connection.
That's such a great point, Emma. Offline learning is so important because not everyone has Wi-Fi or data available all the time. With Bisu, you can still learn even when you're on the move or somewhere without internet. And one more thing that makes it special is the goal-setting feature. You can set weekly goals, which helps keep you motivated.
Oh yes, that's really nice. If you want to practice just a little bit every day, you can set small goals, like learning 10 new words a week. Or if you're studying for a test, you can set a bigger goal, like finishing a full lesson. This makes it easier to stay on track, which is important for language learning. Learning a bit each day is better than trying to do everything all at once.
Exactly, Emma. And speaking of goals, another app that's fantastic for improving English skills is Babbel. Babbel is really popular, and I think it's one of the best apps for understanding grammar. It's designed to help you learn English in a natural way, almost like how we learned our first language.
Yes, Babbel is fantastic for grammar. It has a lot of lessons that explain things clearly and give you examples, which makes grammar feel less scary. For beginners, it might be helpful to know that English grammar can take time to learn, but Babbel makes it easier by breaking things down step by step. And for intermediate learners, it goes into more detail, so you can really improve your understanding.
What I like most about Babbel is that it's focused on real-life situations. You learn English that you can actually use, like asking for directions, ordering food, or talking about your day. It's not just random words, it's useful phrases that you can use when speaking to others in English.
Absolutely, Max. And Babbel also has a review feature. After you finish a lesson, you can go back and review it so that you don't forget what you've learned. This is super important because, with language learning, we need to see words and phrases many times to remember them. Babbel's review method is really effective for that.
That's right, the review tool helps you remember vocabulary over time, which is key to really learning English. And Babbel has short lessons that you can finish in about 10 to 15 minutes. So, even if you're busy, you can still fit in a quick lesson whenever you have a few minutes. It's perfect for learning on the go.
Another app that I think is worth mentioning is BBC Learning English. This one is totally free, and it's made by the BBC, which is one of the biggest news and media companies in the UK. They have lessons that are made for different levels, and they cover a lot of interesting topics like culture, everyday conversations, and even business English.
Yes, BBC Learning English is such a great app. They have videos, audio lessons, and quizzes so you can practice listening and reading skills. And because the lessons are about real topics, it feels like you're learning English and learning about the world at the same time. They even have mini dramas, which are like short stories where you can hear natural English conversations.
Oh, I love those! The mini dramas are such a fun way to learn. You get to hear English in action, and it's easier to understand when you see it in a story. And since the app is free, it's really accessible for everyone. There are so many different topics to choose from, so you can pick something that interests you, whether it's travel, work, or just everyday conversations.
And it's great for building your listening skills because you're hearing native English speakers. Plus, they often speak slowly and clearly, which makes it easier for beginners to follow along. And if you're more advanced, they have faster and more challenging videos too.
Yes, there's something for everyone. BBC Learning English also has grammar lessons, pronunciation tips, and vocabulary exercises. It's like a full English learning course, but you can just choose what you want to focus on. And they update it with new lessons every week, so there's always fresh content to explore.
That's so true, and one last app I'd like to mention is Anki. Anki is a little different from the others because it's not specifically for English, but it's an amazing tool for building vocabulary. Anki is a flashcard app, so you create digital flashcards for words you want to learn, and it uses something called spaced repetition. This means it shows you each card at different times to help you remember the words better.
Yes, Anki is amazing for memorizing new words. Spaced repetition is really helpful because it reminds you of words just when you're about to forget them. You see each card just at the right time, so you don't feel overwhelmed. And you can add your own words or download decks of English vocabulary that other people have made.
And what's nice is that you can practice just a few words each day. It's like building your vocabulary step by step. You don't need to sit down for hours, you can do it while waiting in line or during a quick break. And Anki is great for all levels because you can start with basic words or challenge yourself with advanced ones.
Exactly. So with Anki, you're in control of your learning and you can go at your own pace. It's a great app to combine with the others we've mentioned, especially if you want to practice vocabulary outside of lessons.
All right, so we've talked about some pretty awesome apps so far, but let's dive into a few more that can really help you build your English skills wherever you are. One app that I think is worth mentioning is HelloTalk. Emma, have you used HelloTalk before?
Yes, I have. HelloTalk is such a cool app because it connects you directly with native speakers from around the world. It's like a language exchange app where you can chat with people who are fluent in English, and in return, you help them learn your language. I think it's a great way to get real practice because you're actually talking with real people.
Absolutely, and it's not just text chatting either. You can do voice messages, video calls, and even draw pictures to explain things if words are difficult. So, if you're an intermediate learner and you want to practice having conversations in English, HelloTalk is perfect. And if you're just a beginner, you can still benefit because you can read and listen to simple conversations and get comfortable with the language.
And another amazing thing about HelloTalk is that they have a translation feature. So if someone writes something you don't understand, you can tap it, and it'll translate for you. This is so helpful because you're not just learning to speak, you're also learning to understand the language better. It's like having a friend who's also your language teacher.
Yes, and it even has correction tools. When you make a mistake, the person you're talking to can correct it for you right in the chat. So, it's a bit like having a language coach. You're getting feedback, but in a friendly and relaxed way, and that's a big confidence boost.
That's true. Learning with real people can make the whole experience feel a lot less stressful. And HelloTalk has a large community, so there are always people online who are open to practicing with you. It's great because you can learn different styles of English, like British English, American English, or even Australian English, depending on who you connect with.
Yes, and since English has so many different accents and expressions, it's a good way to get comfortable with how people speak in different places. Plus, you can set filters if you want to talk to someone from a specific country or age group, so you get the experience that feels right for you.
And now, let's talk about another app I think our listeners will enjoy, Cake. Have you tried Cake, Max?
Oh yes, Cake is a fantastic app. For anyone who enjoys watching short video clips, this app is perfect. It uses videos to teach English, and they're fun, quick clips that are all about real-life conversations. You can watch videos of people talking in natural English, and it's so much easier to understand when you see people in real situations.
Right, Cake has videos on so many topics, like daily life, travel, or work, and they're usually no longer than a minute or two. The best part is that they have subtitles, so you can follow along even if you don't understand everything at first. Watching videos with subtitles really helps because you see and hear the words at the same time.
Yes, and Cake also has a repeat after me feature. After you watch a video, you can practice saying the phrases yourself, and the app will listen to your pronunciation. It's great for practicing how you sound in English. And because you're repeating real-life sentences, it's more natural than just repeating random words.
Exactly. And I love that it gives you feedback on your pronunciation, too. It's like having a speaking partner but without feeling nervous. And Cake makes it fun because they have lots of new videos each day, so you're always seeing fresh content and learning new things.
Speaking of fun apps, let's talk about Quizlet. This is another versatile app that can be used for so many subjects, including English. Quizlet is perfect for building your vocabulary because it's a flashcard app, and you can create your own set of words or use sets made by others.
Yes, Quizlet is great for vocabulary. Flashcards are such a simple but powerful tool because they help you remember words better. And Quizlet has games and quizzes, so it's not just about flipping cards, it's interactive, and that makes it more engaging.
And what's great is that Quizlet has a learn mode where it tests you in different ways. Sometimes it asks you to match words, sometimes it gives you a multiple choice question, and other times you have to type out the word. It's nice because it keeps you engaged and makes learning vocabulary more interesting.
Another cool thing about Quizlet is that it has an audio feature. You can listen to the words, which is helpful for pronunciation. Hearing the words over and over helps you remember them and learn how to say them correctly. And because it's all digital, you can practice anywhere and anytime.
Yes, and just like Anki, you can study a little bit each day. It's perfect for using during short breaks, so you're slowly building your vocabulary without spending hours at once. And for anyone who wants to learn more advanced vocabulary, Quizlet is great because there are so many flashcard sets to choose from.
All right, Max, one last app I think we should mention is TED-Ed. TED-Ed isn't just an English learning app, it's an educational app with videos on many topics. But for English learners, it's an excellent resource for building listening skills and learning new vocabulary.
That's true, Emma. TED-Ed has videos on science, history, art, and so much more. And because the speakers are experts in their fields, you're learning both English and new ideas at the same time. And they have subtitles, which really helps if you're new to some of the vocabulary.
Yes, and TED-Ed has a feature where you can watch a video, then take a quiz on it to test your understanding. This is fantastic for English learners because you're actively using what you just learned. It helps with comprehension and makes sure you really understand what you watched.
And even if some topics feel challenging, you don't need to understand every word. Just hearing the language used naturally is good for learning, and the subtitles can guide you. TED can be really inspiring too. Watching videos about things you're curious about makes the learning process so much more enjoyable.
Exactly, Max. Learning English can be so much more than just studying grammar or vocabulary. It's about enjoying the language and discovering new things through it. And with apps like TED, you get the chance to do that while improving your listening skills.
So true. Emma, with all these apps, I think our listeners have so many options to choose from now. Each one has its own strengths, so whether you're a beginner or more advanced, you can find an app that fits your style. And what's great is that these apps allow you to learn at your own pace, on your own time, and even while you're out and about.
Yes, so if you're just starting, maybe try an app like Duolingo or Cake for simpler lessons. And if you're looking to practice more complex conversations, HelloTalk or Bisu could be a great fit. There's something for everyone, and with a bit of time each day, you can really improve.
And don't forget that consistency is key. Even if you spend just a few minutes each day, you'll see progress over time. Language learning doesn't happen overnight, but with all these apps, you can make learning a part of your daily life and see improvement week by week.
Absolutely, Max. And remember, it's okay to make mistakes along the way. That's part of learning. These apps are here to help you, and they make the process fun and less stressful. So give them a try, experiment with different ones, and see which ones you like the most.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of great tools and tips for learning English on the go. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We hope you found some new apps to try out and that you're feeling inspired to keep learning.
Yes, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe to our channel and share it with your family and friends who are also learning English. We'd love to keep sharing tips and advice with you to make your English learning journey as fun and successful as possible.
Take care, everyone. Keep practicing, and remember that every bit of effort counts. Good luck with your learning, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone. Happy learning!